Hey guys, welcome back to the second edition of the Sports Betting Truth Super Stream. I am your host, William Leiss. You can find me on Twitter at WCLEISS. You can also find me on Instagram at WCLEISS. And for those of you new to this channel is about sports betting, but from a little bit different perspective. I'm not here to give you picks. I'm not here to tout you. I'm not here to tell you, do what I say to do and you will win. I'm here to give realistic, down-to-earth, grounded sports betting advice, not to help you win, but to help you enjoy it more and maybe make your bankroll last a little bit longer. So today's stream is just going to be like last week. I will be here to answer your questions. I got a lot of good questions and emails this week, so some of you guys didn't even want to wait to put it in the chat this week. I got some good email questions, but I'm also going to talk about bull picks. That's right, bull picks. We got Bulls coming up, and I decided, to rerun my model for college football for the bowl games. So if you go to williamleiss.com and find the college football analytics section, you will find the outputs of that, and we're going to talk about that tonight. I'm not going to do them all in a row and then answer questions later. I'll do a couple bull picks, answer questions, and dip in and out of the bull picks, to kind of break things up a little bit. So where was I going with this? So before I do get to the bull picks, I do want to bring up something about building models. I was very surprised at how smoothly running my college football model was, despite not having updated it for the past 3 weeks. I thought there was going to be a lot of errors and there's going to be a lot of things that went wrong, but actually none of that happened. Really, there's only one thing that kind of went wrong, and that was on the website. You'll see that teams that are not playing in bowl games have a projected record of 0-0, and I just didn't feel like fixing it. It's not that big of a deal. So that's the only thing that went wrong. So if you're ever building a model, try to anticipate things that might happen in the future that you want to build redundancy for. Don't ever tell yourself, whenever I get to that point, I'll fix it then, because you will not remember your code. You will not know how to read your code. You'll get totally lost and not know how to fix it, and it'll be overwhelming. So always try to anticipate these things when you're building models out. So with that being said, good evening, everybody. Matt Stansberry is in the house. Collier's in the house. Real BBB is in the house. Gunner347 Smith is in the house. So a lot of familiar names. Let's hope that go ahead and hit the like button on the stream. We get more people viewing. I think last week we had 40 people viewing at once. That was our peak, and so let's hopefully we can get near that number again tonight. So I'm going to start talking about bowl games. I'm not going to do the green screen like I've done, and show the dashboard and everything. I'll just talk about them. So if you want to follow along, go to my website, williamleiss.com, and you will see the picks on there, and you can follow along. So without any further ado, let me start talking about bowl games, and I will go in order of them. The bowl schedules. So we got the Bahamas Bowl is going to be first, and for the first time that I can remember, bowls are starting on a Friday. They usually start on like a Saturday. How you doing, Grub Warp? So we got bowl games starting on Friday this year. So at least for the Bahamas Bowl, which doesn't look like it has a title sponsor. So it's just going to be the Bahamas Bowl. So we got Toledo, who is a 10-point favorite against Middle Tennessee, and the spread is 52. Toledo is the number 62 ranked team on my model, and Middle Tennessee is number 100. So my model has Toledo winning by about 9.5. So it looks like the spread is pretty tight, and a total of 51.5. So the total is tight as well. So at least it looks like for the Bahamas Bowl, I don't see much of an edge there for my model. And then we can go and move over to the Tail Greeter Cure Bowl, which is between Northern Illinois, the champion of the MAC, and Coastal Carolina, one of the runners-up in the Sun Belt. And here's my problem. If I was Northern Illinois and I won the MAC and I knew I was going to play a team like Coastal Carolina or Sun Belt team, I just want to go to the Bahamas Bowl. I'd be like, screw that. If I'm not going to play like a good team after winning the MAC, I might as well want to go to like a place like the Bahamas or Hawaii or something like that, right? But anyway, Coastal Carolina is a 10-point favorite over Northern Illinois, and the spread is 63.5. And I have Coastal Carolina winning by 15.5, so at least Coastal Carolina minus 10 looks to be the play there. And I have a total of 73.5, so about 10 points over the posted total. So if you're looking for a game to go over, that is going to be your game. Awesome. So Those are the two Friday bowl games, which never really seem to happen. It's kind of weird. Yeah, I actually like the obscure bowl games too, because I usually associate them with my annual ski trips that I take over Christmas every year. So I remember, watching them at like random restaurants and bars and ski lodges and stuff like that when I'm skiing. So that's kind of, how I associate with these pre-Christmas bowl games. And plus I played in one, the Poinsettia Bowl in 2008, where we played Boise State on December 23rd in San Diego and won. So I do have a soft spot for the pre-Christmas bowls. So let's go ahead and talk about the games on Saturday the 18th as well. We got the roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl. And I'm going to say the title sponsors here. I remember when we played in the Fiesta Bowl, they made it a point to make sure we mentioned Tostitos before saying Fiesta Bowl, because Tostitos paid a lot of money to be the title sponsor. And so it's just a thing out of respect. But we got Western Kentucky and their high-powered air raid offense going against Appalachian State. Number 41 is Western Kentucky. My model, and Appalachian State is 47. Western Kentucky is a 2.5-point dog. The total is 68. I have Appalachian State winning by 1.2, so a little bit of value on Western Kentucky plus 2.5, and the total is 80.6, so way over the posted total of 68. So it looks like we got a projected high-scoring game here. So if you want to play an over, that is a good bet. And then we have the Player Unknown Battleground. I think that's what PUBG stands for. New Mexico Bowl. That's weird. I remember when the New Mexico Bowl was sponsored by Gildan. So I don't know how long ago that was, but New Mexico Bowl is UTEP, which, they didn't really play a great schedule, but credit to them to getting into a bowl game for the first time since I think 2015, I think was the last time, or 2014, and they will be going to be playing Fresno State. So Fresno State is favored by 10.5, but they're going to have a new coaching staff. The total is 49.5. Speaking of Fresno State, hiring Jeff Tedford again, talk about a retread hire. But hey, if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. But I have Fresno State winning by 13.3 with a total of 51.4. So the total looks pretty sharp, but it looks like there might be a little bit of value on Fresno State minus 10.5. We'll have to wonder if they show up even with the coaching change. And then one of the biggest shafts of the bowl season, we got BYU, who went 10-2, ranked in the top 12, going to play a pre-Christmas bowl, the Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl, against third-place Conference USA team. Although my model didn't really think BYU was that good. I have them at 37, and UAB ranked 48. So it's kind of an evenly matched matchup. BYU not that good according to my model, and I only have BYU winning by 2.4. So I think UAB plus 7 is a good value play here, especially a team that might be disappointed to be there, BYU. And that's very important when it comes to these bowl games. Is I call it the give a crap factor. And usually the give a crap factor is a very big deal in these bowl games. Whichever team wants to be there more is usually the team that ends up playing well. That's not always the case, but more often than not. Total 62.4, so another game I project to go over. So that is the Independence Bowl. And then we have the Lending Tree Bowl, which I don't even know where that's at, to be honest with you. Is that the old Camellia Bowl or whatever? But anyway, it's Eastern Michigan and Liberty. Liberty number 68, my model, and Eastern Michigan 106. 106, that might be the worst rated bowl team in my model, but Liberty is favored by 8.5, total is 58.5, and I have Liberty winning by 11.9. So a little bit of value on Liberty minus 8.5 there, and total is 67.4. So a little bit of also another over here. So it looks like that is how I see that game playing out. And then the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl. Yes, it is a real thing, Grub Warp. The Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl presented by Stiefel. I think that's like a stock market investment firm or something like that. But yeah, the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl presented by Stiefel. Mountain West champion Utah State playing against an average Oregon State team. But remember, Utah State was ranked very poorly in my model to start the year. I want to say they started in the 120, so a bottom 10 team. So good for them for winning the Mountain West, really. But Oregon State number 40 and Utah State number 60 in the model. So even though they won the Mountain West, still number 60. Oregon State minus 7, total 66. So I have Oregon State winning by 7.3 and 75.8 is a total, so it looks like over, but the spread is pretty sharp. So it looks like over is the only play there. And then finally, the last game on Saturday the 18th, we got the R+L Carriers New Orleans Bowl. That's been the sponsor of that game since at least I was a player at TCU. So at least a consistent sponsor for that one. We got UL Lafayette and Marshall. Again, champions of the Sun Belt playing and also ran in Conference USA. These bowl tie-ins really, they suck. It's a shame that a team like Louisiana is doing that. But anyway, we got number 56 for 61. So at least it's an evenly matched matchup. Marshall's 5.5 dog, total is 53.5. But I have Marshall winning outright with a total of 62. So it looks like, once again, my model is skewing way over for some reason. So at least spread-wise, those seem to be a little bit more consistent. But I think Marshall is the outright winner here. So Marshall money line and spread looks to be a good play. All right, so those are those games for now. Time to start answering some questions. Collier says, no offense, but the give a crap factor sounds a lot like the I think, thanks stuff you've criticized, unless you somehow found a way to work estimated motivation in your model. You're right. You're definitely right, but just knowing from experience, having been on a team that, when we went to the Fiesta Bowl my junior year, we were excited to play in a BCS Bowl. We were excited to go to Phoenix. We were excited to, get there. But the opponent was the problem, because we had just played Boise State the year before in the Poinsettia Bowl and beaten them. We were undefeated. We wanted to play like a big name team. We were like a second away from going to the national championship game. So we were kind of disappointed to be there. And I feel like that showed in the way we practiced that week leading up to the Fiesta Bowl and the way we played against Boise State in the Fiesta Bowl. And you can see this play out in these bowl games over the years, that teams that are more motivated to be there and more excited to be there more often than not play better. It's not really something you can measure. It's definitely one of those psychological things, but I think this is one of those rare exceptions that you can really apply something like this, something intangible like this, to a bowl game. Yeah. It's kind of weird. I only have 9 viewers right now. I had like 40 the last time, so I guess some reason this isn't being spread as much as the last one was, but I don't care. I'd rather have 9 engaged viewers than 40 people that are just kind of here to be here. But anyway, let's see. I got some email questions throughout the week. I'm trying to find them. I get too many junk emails, to be honest with you. Jeez. Oh, am I in the promotions? Yeah. So I think a big example would be, TCU in 1998. We hadn't been to a bowl game in a long time, and we played a USC team that just didn't want to be in the Sun Bowl, and we beat the crap out of them, right? A TCU team that went 6-5 wasn't that good, but we were happy to be in a bowl game at all. And then you have USC, having to play a TCU team from the WAC, and it's just one of those things. All right, Corey Johnson sent me some good email questions, so I'll go ahead and read those off. He says, do you think it's better to bet earlier in the week to catch good lines, or wait closer to the game time to get more player status info, or it just depends on the sport and situation? Corey Johnson, that is a great question. There's really no right or wrong way to answer this. How do I put it? Generally, the closer you get to game time, the more information the market's going to have to make a decision. So honestly, if you have a good model and can get the data in quick enough, it's probably better to bet sooner rather than later, before the market can kind of catch up to any breaking information. That can backfire, with injuries or a player, whatever. But I've always said the earlier you can bet, the better. And that's why there's lower limits on lines that come out right away, like MLB overnights or college football lines that come out early on Sundays. That's why there's lower limits there, because you can definitely catch an edge the sooner you bet. And I feel like that might be a reason why my model this year hasn't done that good, although I have always done that every season. I usually wouldn't run my model until Tuesday and Wednesday anyway, and still came out ahead. So honestly, I think it doesn't really matter. But I always say, if you can bet early, do it. Trust me, it will pay dividends. All right. Think players sitting out or prepping for the pros affects these games much? Asked Matt Stansberry. It depends. I'm not a big fan of the sitting out of bowl games. I could see why they do it, and I do think that there will be a day that comes where a player sits out of a playoff game, right? I do think a day will come like that, or a player, sits out of a season because he don't want to get hurt. I'm not a fan. It's a new development, and I really think a lot of it has to do with ego rather than actually wanting to protect their health. It's almost like ooh, look at me, I'm too good to play in these bowl games type of thing. That's how I've always viewed it. Even though that's probably not always the case, it just kind of seems that way because you have some not irrelevant players, but players that really probably aren't that high of a projected draft pick that sit out, and it's like, okay, I could see if you're like a first round talent and would get first round money, but if you're just like a NFL player that's going to get drafted, in the fourth round or whatever, you shouldn't be sitting out. That's how I see it. So that's a good question, but does it affect the games? It depends on the player. I've always said in football, it really depends on how much impact a player is going to have on the game. It's not like the player's production is going to be completely lost, because that just gives room for someone else to step up and be motivated to step up and prove themselves for next year. So that's just kind of how I see it playing out. But it really just depends on the player. Like Christian McCaffrey sitting out that one, like the Foster Farms Bowl, yeah, that probably mattered for Stanford. But like some random wide receiver or whatever, probably not. So it just depends. All right, Corey Johnson wants to know, what's the best edge you've ever found? Like insider info not many people knew. Ooh, I wonder if I should even talk about that. I would definitely say it was my second half college basketball betting last year. I feel like I really had a solid proven edge in college basketball live betting last year and second half betting, which you guys saw on the streams. I mean, you guys saw that live. And it really wasn't anything fancy. It really wasn't anything, that I created to be complex and everything. But gosh, it was really pretty simple, but you still needed a good foundational model to make it work. And I feel like that's what I was able to do. I don't think the edge ever really ran out, because it continued to win until the end of the year, but it wasn't hitting the 65% like I had for a span of 3 or 4 weeks in February last year. So that's kind of how I see it with that question. All right, Collier wants to know, how much of betting people complaining about being banned ultra limited is legit, and how much do you think is flawed, i.e. people clumsily trying to arbitrage? I love that question, Collier. I love that question. I actually think I did a video on this subject back when I was living in Las Vegas, maybe back in April or so. And I think the title of the video is the most requested video I've ever got, because this is what people emailing me about the most. They always email me like, hey, I got banned from this book. Can you do a video calling this book out and try to get them to unban me? Like I'm some kind of watchdog or something, or advocate for these people. And almost always when I ask them, well, what'd you get banned for? They always say, well, I was arbitrage betting, or I was trying to cheese the lines, or taking advantage of slow-moving lines, like something gimmicky, like not because they were winning. And I'm like, sorry, no can do. I'm not going to do that. You knew the rules. I'm not going to, go to bat for you and put my reputation on the line for something you should have known better for. However, I also think there's a lot of people that lie about being banned from sports books to peacock and brag, not because they actually got banned from these books, but because they're just saying, oh yeah, I got banned, kind of like to show off, when they really didn't. Or maybe they got banned for arbing and instead say they got banned for winning too much to show off. So I like that question, Collier, and I think most of it is because they are trying to flaw or cheese the lines is what I call it. Be a cheese ball. Benjamin wants to know, where's the college basketball model? I just haven't had time to get to it this season, Benjamin. I don't know if I will or not. Trust me, it's not a matter of want. It's a matter of time. Life gets in the way, and I just don't have the free time like I had last year when I was living in Las Vegas. Yep. Yeah, Matt Stansberry answered the question. I appreciate it, Matt. Bobby Robeson wants to know, what major conference teams aren't that excited about their bowl this year? I'm thinking Ohio State is one. That's a good question, Bobby Robeson. The thing is, it's the Rose Bowl. It's kind of hard to not be excited about the Rose Bowl, even if you didn't have that great of a season. It's still the Rose Bowl. But Utah's definitely going to be very, very excited to be there. They're definitely going to have an edge over Ohio State. I think another one would be BYU. They got a crap bowl game. They probably don't want to be there. Oklahoma State, I mean, they're still going to the Fiesta Bowl to play Notre Dame. I mean, they're still pretty excited, but that's going to be a lot to overcome, that heartbreaking loss to Baylor. So, as I go down the list, I'll be able to point those games out, but that's kind of how I see it. Yeah, Line Munchkins, that's a great... and a lot of the people that comment in my videos, Collier, are people that are like, it's legal. Why are you hating on people that do that? Because that's not what this channel is about. There's a ton of YouTube channels out there that give you advice on how to cheese the lines or be a line munchkin. That's not my channel. That's not what my channel is about. I think that's, like I said, the equivalent of fishing with dynamite, doing those types of things. So. Yep. Oh, Matt Stansberry, no doubt about it. A lot of YouTube sports betting channels do claim to be limited to make them give them credibility. There's no doubt about it. Gunner347 Smith says, sorry, off topic. I've watched Purdue a few games now on the hard court, and they look like a team that won't be stopped. Have I watched them? Yes, I have, and I agree. The thing with Purdue is that they are deep. They have not one good player at every position, but two good players at every position. They have a solid 10-man rotation, too deep. That's better than probably anybody in the country. They have two big guys, 2 point guards, 2 shooting guards. It's crazy how much depth they have. And I know their season last year ended, lost to North Texas in the first round of the NCAA tournament, but that's a good team, and they're going to be a very hard out in the Big Ten and in the NCAA tournament. So I would keep an eye on them. I'm glad you were able to bring them up, Gunner347 Smith. All right, back to some bowl games. Let's move on to the game on Monday, December 20th. We got the Myrtle Beach Bowl presented by Tax Act. Old Dominion and Tulsa. Old Dominion, they were one of the worst rated teams in my model to start the year, and I was talking about teams that didn't play last year, giving themselves an essential death penalty almost, but good for Old Dominion for bucking that. I mean, it was Conference USA, not a good league, but hey, they got there against Tulsa that upset SMU to get bowl eligible, so this is 2 6-6 teams, I believe. Old Dominion number 88 in the model, Tulsa number 75. Tulsa's a 9.5 point favorite. The total is 52.5. I have Tulsa winning by 5.6, so a little bit of value on Old Dominion there with a total of 47.4. So this is one of the unders. This is an under right here. So Old Dominion, I think, is a good value play. All right, Tuesday, December 21st. So this is the day I will be leaving to go to Park City, Utah. So I will be in the air on an airplane while this game is going on. But we got the MAC runner-up, Kent State, playing against Wyoming that had a pretty disappointing season after a good start. Whoops, wrong one. Wyoming went 6-6, and I forgot Kent State's record. But these teams are both in the 100s in my model. Wyoming number 101, Kent State number 111. Wyoming's a 3-point favorite on the blue turf. The total is 58.5, and I have Wyoming winning by 3.6, and total 74.8. So this one should go over, and Wyoming, not a lot of value on the spread, so probably only a total there. We got another game on December 21st, and like I said, I'll probably still be at the airport when this game's going on. We got the Tropical Smoothie Cafe, which I think is better than Smoothie King, by the way. The Tropical Smoothie Cafe Frisco Bowl. We got UT San Antonio and San Diego State. So this is a good matchup. Two teams that won 11 and 12 games, respectively, going against each other. Number 51 versus 55, so evenly matched. UTSA favored by 2.5. The total is 49.5. I have UTSA winning by 1.4, so a little bit of value on San Diego State, but not much. Total's 43.6, so quite a bit under the 49.5 total. So I think under would be a pretty good play here, especially with the way San Diego State plays defense and struggles to score. Moving on to December 22nd, I'll probably be able to watch this game because it'll be my first day to ski at Park City, and it's at 8 o'clock, so I should be able to watch it. Actually, it'll be 6 o'clock Mountain Time, but still, I should still be able to watch it. We got the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl, which is right down the road from where I'm at right now in Fort Worth at TCU Stadium. We got Missouri and Army. Missouri has a very bad run defense, I know that, and they're playing a good running team. Number 30 versus 86. So Missouri's 86, Army's 30. But Army's only favored by 3.5, but I have a winning by 12.6, so I think Army is a great spread play here. Total is 67.1, so that's about 8 points over the total of 59.5. So I really like Army there. Spread or money line, whichever one you want to do. And then we got that random bowl game that was added at the last minute, the Frisco Football Classic between 6-6 North Texas and 6-6 Miami of Ohio. That might be the worst bowl game of the season. The last minute bowl is what it's called. Number 83 versus 92. Miami is a 3-point favorite. The total is 54. I have Miami of Ohio winning by 2.3, and the total is 65.5. So 11 points over the total. So I would probably play the over here. But not a good game, probably not worth talking about more. And then the other game on the 23rd, I remember when this was called the Magic Jack St. Petersburg Bowl, but now it is called the Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl between UCF and Florida. This is another one of those games. UCF didn't have that great of a season, but they're going to be very fired up to play Florida in this game in Florida. Probably not happy to be there, 6-6 bad season, fire their coach. Still, even as bad of a year Florida had, they're still number 15 in my model. UCF number 72. Florida's favored by 7.5 with a total of 57. I have Florida winning by 17, but again, I feel like the give a crap factor is not factored in here, but still, my model says Florida's a play with a total 49. This is 8 points under, so Florida in the under, at least according to the model here. And then finally, we got two more pre-Christmas bowls. We got the Christmas Eve game, the Easy Post Hawaii Bowl between Memphis and Hawaii. Not that good of a game. Memphis number 84, Hawaii number 87. Hawaii is a 6.5-point home dog, the only home team in bowl season, and the total is 59.5. Usually the teams that go to play Hawaii in these games struggle because they're more they care about the vacation rather than the game, and I don't blame them. But I have Hawaii winning by 1.9, so wrong team favored here. So Hawaii spread and money line is a good play here. Total 73.5, which is 14 points over, so an overplay as well. And then finally on Christmas Day, we got the Taxac Camellia Bowl between Georgia State and Ball State. Two disappointing teams this year. Georgia State number 67, my model, Ball State 97. Georgia State is a 4.5-point favorite. The total is 50. I have Georgia State winning by 13.6 with the total of 54.9. So I would say Georgia State at 4.5 seems to be a pretty good play there. All right, so those are the pre-Christmas games. Let's go back to the questions. Collier says, I compare line munchkins to authors who just try to gimmick and manipulate the bestseller lists and Amazon algorithms and try not to make good books. Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much what they are. They're people who are just trying to game the system, and that's not fun. And I want those people to be banned. I don't have any respect for them. Matt Stansberry says, arbitrage takes a lot of work unless you buy a site that shops all the lines for you, and the price of those may make the sub for that site not worth a profit. It is funny you mentioned that, Matt Stansberry, because my Thursday Truth video for tomorrow covers exactly that. Sneak preview. It is a Thursday Truth video all about everybody's favorite subject, arbitrage betting. And it's hard to lay off the subject because when I search Google Trends and YouTube Trends and everything for ideas on what to make videos about, arbitrage betting is always at the top of the list, and it's not close. That is what people are searching for when they're looking on sports betting subjects on YouTube. So in order to, ride that wave, I have to make videos on the subject. But no, I have a video about arbitrage betting tomorrow coming up. Yep, and my frame rate for my camera, once again, is slowed down like it usually does. Mika Hamari, welcome back. Nice to see you. He says, I love sports statistics. Playing arbitrage is totally different perspective. You could play it even if it was opera. You're completely right. It's not like, it has nothing to do with sports betting. It's just betting. It's just, you're just trying to find lines that aren't in sync with each other. That has nothing to do with sports at all. So I could completely see where you're coming from there. All right. Maybe I should put in the title for the video next week, Sports Betting Expert Answers Your Questions, because I have like a fraction of the viewers I had last week. Oh, well, it is what it is. I'm not too worried. Corey Johnson, email question. What is the greatest Mafia game fix and technique you've ever heard of? I don't know how much influence the Mafia still has on sports, but in the 60s and 70s, they absolutely did. And that's how guys like Sam Rothstein or whatever, Ace Rothstein, that was his name in Casino. What was his name in real life? I always forget it. Something Jewish, but that's how he was able to win. Not because he was such a good handicapper like he was portrayed in the movie Casino, but because he had refs in his back pocket. He had mafias fixing games, point shavers. He had all those connections and knew what they were about. So that's what he was about. But I don't know if it's really mafia that are fixing games these days. I just think it's a random people with a lot of money to throw around who are able to get to these players and throw it. There's really nothing complicated about, crooked refs, crooked players, but I would say it's more isolated than a systemic problem these days. That's just how I see it. All right. What's the most sensitive element to a fix? NFL play caller, hockey goalie, or ref? Definitely refs. The thing with hockey goalie is I think that teams are too quick to pull plugs on hockey goalies. So you could say hockey goalie, and yes, I think hockey goalie is easily the easiest one to shave points. But it only goes one way. They're going to let a puck go through that they would normally stop, and for a game to go over or for a puck line to cover. I still think NBA ref is definitely it. And NFL ref as well, whether or not how tightly they call holding is another one. So that's another thing you need to pay attention to. But yeah, definitely refs is what I would say the most sensitive element to a fix. Because how they call a basketball game can definitely influence things. If you guys watched my March Madness streams last year, you would have heard me say in like the first 5 minutes of a lot of games, this game's going to go over, this game's going to go under, or this team's going to win, this team's going to lose. Because based on the way the refs were calling the game in the first 5 minutes, you could tell, you just knew that some teams weren't going to be able to withstand that. Yeah. Matt Stansberry says, saw a YouTube channel this week where they explain their losses on the college basketball slate due to neutral sites. No, you need to factor that in. You got to factor that in. Collier says the best sports fixing example is ghost games where they bribe data scouts. It's a good example. Yeah, I would say it's a good example. To report a game that never happened to the sports book, I could. Yeah, Mika Himari, I do agree this is a good format. I'm just kind of, there was like 40 people watching at once last week, and I don't have the same viewership that I had last week, but it is what it is. Bobby Robeson, best gambling-related movie, Rounders for you. The thing with Casino is it's a great movie for the first half, and then I hate the second half because it becomes more about Ginger and Sam's relationship and her going crazy, and that's just not fun for me to watch. I really like the first half of the movie where it's all about the inner workings of the casino and all of that, and how the skim operation works and how they'd catch cheaters. That was a lot of fun, but then it kind of goes off the rails. But best gambling related movie, I mean, I would have to say Casino even then, just the first half. All right. If I was on the TV show Breaking Bad and instead of meth had to make big money quick somehow, what would I pick? Instead of meth, but had to make big money quick somehow. Ooh, that is a tough question. Probably become a sports betting tout. So many suckers out there. That's a tough question. I don't know how to answer that. All right. Let's see. Let's go back to college football for a little bit. The post-Christmas games. We've got the Quick Lane Bowl on Monday, December 27th. We've got Western Michigan and Nevada, Reno. Nevada's number 44, Western Michigan 73. I have Nevada winning 39-33. The spread is Nevada +3, so wrong team's favored. I think Nevada is the outright winner, although they are going through a coaching change and Western Michigan is not, so you have to wonder if that will play a factor. And I have the total at 72, which is about 12 points over the posted total. And then later that day in the afternoon, we got the Military Bowl presented by Peraton. I don't even know what Peraton is, but it's Boston College in East Carolina. So it looks like Mike Houston was finally able to get East Carolina over that hump. East Carolina 58, Boston College 78 in the model. Eastern Carolina 3.5-point dog, but I have them winning outright by 4, so wrong team favored in a total of 57, which is 6 points over the total. The next day, we got 5 games on Tuesday, December 28th. Wow, 5 games. Starting at noon Eastern with the Ticket Smarter Birmingham Bowl. We got Houston, which I never thought was that good this year. They just played a really soft schedule against a tough luck Auburn team. Auburn, despite being 6-6, is number 14 in my model. Houston, number 43. I have Auburn as a 3-point favorite, and I have them winning by 7.5 with a total of 52. So the total's right in line with the posted total, but I think Auburn -3 is a good play. I do. And then later we have the Serve Pro First Responder Bowl, which I think is played at SMU Stadium, either that or the Cotton Bowl. But it's Air Force in Louisville. Air Force is number 17 in my model. Number 17. Wow, that's pretty good. Louisville 52, and Air Force is a 1.5 point dog. The total is 55.5. I have Air Force winning by 5.5, so wrong team is favored here. So I think Air Force is a great play. Then we have the AutoZone Liberty Bowl at 6:45 that day. Oh, this game's going to be fun. Mississippi State and Texas Tech, the Mike Leach Bowl. Mississippi State, number 9 in my model, so a top 10 team against a number 71 team. Texas Tech is an 8.5 point dog. The total is 60. I have Mississippi State winning by 19. That's a pretty big margin, so I think Mississippi State minus 8.5 is a good play. Total is 60. I have it going at 67.2, so about 7 points over. All right, and then later that night, we got the San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl. Played at, where are they going to play that game at? Oh, they're playing it at Petco Park. That's right. I used to live right by Petco Park in San Diego. I could see it from my balcony. But UCLA and NC State. So NC State going all the way across the country to San Diego. They're ranked number 22 in my model, UCLA 26. So this is evenly matched, and NC State 1 point favorite. The total is 60. I have NC State. I have this as an evenly matched game, 33-33, 66.7. So over would probably be the only way I'd go there. And then finally, last game of the night, Chase Field in Phoenix. We got West Virginia and Minnesota in the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. Minnesota number 21 on the model, West Virginia 69. And I have Minnesota as a 4 point favorite, totals 45. I have Minnesota winning by 8. So it looks like there is a value play on Minnesota there on the spread. And total is 48.7, so about 3.5 points over the posted total of 45. So those are the December 28th games. All right, back to the chat. Collier wants to know, if you had to do a model for those goofy Russian table tennis games people are betting on, how would you do it? Ah, man. Do they even keep stats for that stuff? That's the thing. If you can't get any statistics for these things, I'm guessing they handicap the games using like a simple ELO chess rating system. That's probably the only way you can go. That's how they get lines out for games like that. An ELO chess based rating system that just plugs in, did you win, lose, or draw? And those are usually pretty good enough to set lines. That's how they set lines for high school football. No, not really. They use a predictor system in high school football, to do that. So it's, a very simple ELO chess-based system. But I just don't see how you'd be able to find an edge on something like that. That's probably one of those sports like MMA you'd have to watch and just kind of get a feel, maybe. I wouldn't bet on them, though. It's like betting on darts or betting on bowling. Although at least maybe the PBA website has bowling stats. Robert McPherson says, hey, dude, greetings from Scotland. Just stopping by to say I appreciate all the helpful videos. Back to work now. I appreciate you too, Robert McPherson. You know, I might not have the viewership that other channels have in this genre, but I feel like I have the most engaged audience and the smartest audience that knows what I'm trying to accomplish with this channel and appreciate what I do. I really appreciate that a lot, and spread the word. You know, the best thing you can do is spread my material, like my videos, subscribe, all that stuff. That's the best thing you can do to help this channel out. I'm trying to get to 15,000 subscribers. That's the next milestone. The subscriber growth has kind of slowed down a little bit. You know, I wouldn't say slowed down, but it hasn't increased, you know. I stayed pretty steady at adding about 300 to 400 subscribers a month. And that's kind of just where it's been for the past year or so, which is fine. I'm not getting the exponential growth like other channels might get, but like I said, I feel like there comes a point on a channel like mine where you're going to reach saturation among the intended audience. You know, there's only so many people out there looking for sports betting advice in the style that I give it at. And, you know, there's going to be a ceiling for that. And that's why I've tried to branch out into some other subjects, you know, doing some off-topic videos, you know, just trying to experiment with some other video subjects to see if anything sticks. And so, you know, if some people have problem, you know, if I come out with one video that has nothing to do with sports betting, they, you know, I'm unsubscribing, you know, stuff like that. It's fine. I don't care. But, that's just how it is. Mika Hamari wants to know, I don't know the latest news, but what do you think of participating in the Beijing Olympics, NHL players and others? I just think it's a lot of hypocrisy. China, I feel like politicians, not just in the United States, but all over the world, want to suck off China because they know China's a major power player these days, and China will buy off these politicians. So I just think it's hypocritical. If you really think China is the human rights abuser they are, and I think they do, don't participate. Boycott. But no one wants to do that because they're too afraid to stand up to China. Because China makes these politicians a lot of money, and they're afraid to do it. I think the United States should boycott the Chinese Olympics. We should not give them credibility and all that. We should totally try to send a message to China being like, we don't think what you guys do is right. You guys have a lot of human rights abuses and all of that. It's just funny to watch these politicians talk about, racism and like in the NBA, for example, talk about racism and hatred, while at the same time refusing to say anything about China. Oh no, can't say anything about China, but we can see it. It's stupid. It's just hypocrisy, selective, it is what it is. Like, oh, we should totally pay slavery reparations in the United States while at the same time buying slave labor products from China, iPods and laptops and all that, It is what it is. Matt Stansberry asks, hey, Will, my Monte Carlo sim can output a tie on the Sims. I've been trying to find out how to best use the data until recently. I find out you can actually bet on draws and overtime. Worth looking into. Yeah, you want to always keep the tie separate from wins and losses, because you can, like in a sport like baseball where there is going to be no tie, what I would always do is I would just divide up the amount of times it tied and add it to each team's win percentage, and then divide the win percentage by each other to get a true win percentage. So if you have a Monte Carlo simulation where a team wins 60% of the time and ties, 5% of the time, then you divide that 5 divided by 2, add it to the 60%. Now it's 62.5% to win or draw, and then there you go. And you get a true win percentage that way. So that's how I'd always, you definitely want to keep track of it though. Yes, absolutely. Collier says, I read a novel from the 1910s that described touts as people who give 6 suckers 6 different horses. Some things never change. Yep, I think that was one of the very first videos I ever did. I remember when I went to Las Vegas on my annual trip in 2019, that was the first one I recorded, the selling both sides of the line gimmick. That's a tout gimmick, absolutely. And that's how it originated. You got a guy at a horse track. He finds 8 suckers, gives them all 8 horses running in the race, and then he finds the guy after the fact who he gave the winning horse to and says, hey, I told you I had a sure thing, and he just got himself a new customer. It's a tale as old as time, and touts still employ that tactic to this day. Bobby Robeson wants to know, bowl game you're most anticipating not including the playoffs? That's a great question. Bowl I'm most anticipating not including the playoffs. I really am interested in the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. And I say that because Texas A&M, they've just been such an underachiever. I know they won the Orange Bowl last year, but COVID year doesn't count. I've been saying that all year. And Jimbo can't afford to lose to Wake Forest. I know he's got this monster recruiting class coming in and everything, but it's crazy how A&M fans are starting to, turn into Cubs fans, oh, just wait till next year. It's almost becoming like a broken record. They got to win that game. Because I feel like that's going to be one of those give a crap bowls where Wake Forest, I know they lost to Pitt. They're disappointed they're not going to the Orange Bowl, but that's still Wake Forest can still make a statement and show their year wasn't a fluke if they can beat A&M. So that's definitely one I'm looking forward to. Robert McPherson says, I think if YouTubers want to grow faster, they need to make some videos that are designed to be popular, like you won't believe how the sports betting model works, or top 10 sports. You're actually right. It's called clickbait, Robert McPherson. I've tried it before, and it does kind of work to an extent. But that's the thing. Like I've been saying, I feel like I've just reached saturation among the intended audience for this channel. It's going to keep growing, but not at an exponential rate. And if I'm ever going to get exponential growth, I probably need to find maybe a secondary subject to talk about. I've thought about making the political betting market videos part of my routine, and I'll probably get into that once we get closer to primary season next year. Because those videos do actually resonate pretty well in terms of reaching a different audience. Maybe not reaching a bigger audience, but definitely reaching a different audience. And there's nothing wrong with that. Yep. Matt Stansberry is right about the correlation of growth. Real BBB says, you said last week you started with an ELO college basketball model. After that, how did you become knowledgeable about different models in Excel, macros, etc.? Was it basically internet research? I would say what really got me going was the book Basketball on Paper. Really allowed me to figure out how to incorporate statistics into these rating systems instead of just pure wins and losses and final score. Basketball on Paper and Ken Pomeroy's website was really I credit Ken Pomeroy and his website more than anything else in terms of my growth, in terms of being able to do what I do. Robert McPherson says, also, do you not have betting exchanges in the US of A like Betfair, BetDAQ, or SmartKits? Unfortunately, no. I wish we did. I really wish we did. We have betting exchanges for political betting. It's called Predict It, and I made money on that last year. My most viewed live stream of all time, by the way, when I was giving away my Predict It bets last year before the election. I had like 300 concurrent viewers. But you can for politics, but not sports, unfortunately. All right, I'm going to drink a quick sip of water. Let's go back to some bowl games real quick. Wednesday, December 29th, we got 4 games, starting with what I call the pretentious bowl. But it's really the Wasabi Fenway Bowl between SMU and Virginia. But think about 2 pretentious fan bases going at it. SMU number 49 in the model, Virginia 57. 2 teams without their coach, 2 teams that have lost their coach. Virginia's a 1.5 point favorite, total is 71.5. I have SMU winning by 3.5, so I think SMU is a good play here. And the game at 88 as a total, so over as well. That's another one of those things that defenses aren't always dialed in these bowl games. So I do like SMU in the over in that one. All right, after that is the New Era Pinstripe Bowl. So Red Sox, Yankees being featured on the 29th as far as stadiums are concerned. And that is a rivalry game, Maryland or Virginia Tech. It's definitely a rivalry game. Virginia Tech number 65 in the model, Maryland 76, and Virginia Tech without their coach as well, but they're favored by 1. The total is 55. I have Maryland winning by 0.1, so this is pretty sharp. Total 66, which is 11 points over the 55 posted total, though. And then we have the Cheez-It Bowl. This isn't the same Cheez-It Bowl that TCU played in a few years ago. This is what was formerly known as the Camping World Bowl and the Champ Sports Bowl before that, and that is Clemson and Iowa State. It's played in Orlando at the Citrus Bowl. 5:45 p.m. Eastern on the 29th. Clemson really played strong to end the season. Iowa State, massive underachieving, but Iowa State 29 in the model, Clemson 39. This is a pick'em, and the total is 45.5. I have Iowa State winning by 5, and the total is 45.5. That is right in line with what it is. So Iowa State is the play there. And then finally, the Valero Alamo Bowl. This is always an entertaining game every year. Usually one of the best non-BCS bowl games or New Year's Six bowls. And it is Oregon with the new coach going against Oklahoma with a new coach. A lot of new coaches this year. Oregon number 19 in the model, Oklahoma 32. However, Oklahoma's favored by 4.5. The total is 61.5. I have Oregon winning outright by 3 and a total 68.6, so 7 points over the posted total. So wrong team favorite, but with coaching changes and everything, you never know in a game like this. And Oregon this is one of those give a crap bowls where both teams are going to be disappointed to be there, with Oklahoma used to playing in bigger bowls than this. So at least, according to the model, it's Oregon in the over. All right, that is the 29th games. Let's get back to the chat. Push wants to know, what watch is this? Is it good for fitness? Yes, it is. It's the Garmin Vivo Active 4. It's a very good all-around watch for fitness because it has so many features in it. You have the Garmin Forerunner, which I almost bought, but that's really only for running. Like, it doesn't have skiing on there, for example, and it just kind of has watered-down versions of other activities like biking. But this has, good support for pretty much every physical activity you can think of, even golf. Like, you can bring it to the golf course and it'll track your shots, and it's pretty cool. So I think it costs maybe $300, but it's not that expensive anymore. I bought it back in April about 8 months ago, so it's not that expensive anymore. But I like it. The Garmin Vivo Active 4. Yep. Yeah, I'm glad people like the political betting stuff. A lot of people message me and email me and comment saying they're unsubscribing when I talk about that stuff, but I'm not using it as a platform to discuss my political views. I'm using it as a platform to discuss political betting. And so that's just kind of how it is. Mika Hamari says, I'm working partly as a freelance writer. I said today no to newspaper that has headlines on the form of clickbaits. If you do it well, your audience is smaller but more loyal. I don't want to be part of yellow media. I'm good for you, Mika Hamari, for having principles. You know, I quit the TV industry because I felt like they sold out their principles, and broadcast journalism no longer stood for what journalism truly is. Journalism used to be like a working man's profession that held the powerful accountable, and it's the opposite in 2021, and that's why I quit the industry. Journalism in 2021 carries water for the rich and powerful. It does not hold the rich and powerful accountable, and that's a problem. I sat in too many production meetings and department head meetings where I'd see stories get spiked because they might offend the wrong person, and fake stories get pumped up because it might accomplish a political objective that they wanted to have accomplished. And I could not morally stay in the industry anymore. All right, Thursday, December 30th, we got 4 games, starting with the Duke's Mayo Bowl, a rivalry game of sorts, North Carolina versus South Carolina. South Carolina, good for them getting to 6-6. I remember before the season started and we were doing a season preview, I was going through South Carolina's schedule and I was like, there's no way they win 6, but they did. Good for them, really. Although it did take the collapse of teams like Florida and Auburn to get there, but again, good for them. North Carolina 53 in the model, South Carolina 77. North Carolina's favored by 7. The total is 57.5. I have North Carolina winning by 7, so it's right in line with the spread, and a total of 64.5. That's 7 points over. So over, I guess, in that game. Then we have the Trans-Perfect Music City Bowl. What does Trans-Perfect stand for? Anyway, that is Tennessee and Purdue. Good for Purdue for having a decent season. 8-4, nothing wrong with that. Tennessee, though, number 13 in my model. That was a team, I remember the opening night stream we had on this channel when they were playing Bowling Green and looked like crap, and we were like, they suck. But, you know, they played in the week at SEC East, but, you know, they're still able to get things done, so good for them. Tennessee favored by 4, and the total is 63. I have Tennessee winning by 4, so the line is very sharp. But the total is 80. That's 17 points over the projected spread. So over in that game. Man, there are spammers coming in here tonight. All right, finally, our first New Year's 6 game. We got the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, Michigan State and Pitt. This is a Michigan State team that my model never really believed in this year, and that's still the case. They're number 45, and Pitt's number 20. I think Michigan State giving a $100 million extension to Mel Tucker was stupid. I'm sorry, that's stupid. That's the kind of money you pay to a coach that has won a championship of some sort. 10-2, yeah, great season. 10-2, great season, but that's just 1 year. You know, you'd want him to sustain that kind of success for multiple seasons before giving him that kind of money. But anyway, the spread is a pick'em, and the total is 60.5. I have Pitt winning by 3, and a total of 65.5. So Pitt in the over looks to be the play there. And finally, on December 30th, we have the SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl. Not your Las Vegas Bowl of old. This is not being played at Sam Boyd Stadium before Christmas. This is being played on the 30th at Allegiant Stadium, and that is Wisconsin and Arizona State. Another one of those, you know, Wisconsin number 5, my model, Arizona State 27. This will be a fun matchup. I think Wisconsin fans will travel well here. They always travel well to Las Vegas when they play UNLV. This should be no exception. Wisconsin favored by 7. The total is 42.5. I have Wisconsin winning by 11 and a total of 46.8. So over and Wisconsin is the play there. And that is the December 30th games. All right. Bobby Robeson says, any idea how much the sponsors pay for the bowl naming rights? A lot of money. Enough money to where they would tell us for like media appearances and when we were talking about the bowl games to the media and stuff to use the full bowl name. Like the San Diego Karate Credit Union Poinsettia Bowl and the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl and the Rose Bowl presented by Vizio. They wanted us to mention the title sponsor because they pay money for that, and so that's why I'm mentioning it too. JYS0254 says Purdue is not going to have George or David Bell. Not sure if that can be modeled, but those are Purdue's 2 best players by a mile. That is a great point, Jay Wise, and I know how big of a deal George K is for that defense of Purdue's. That is very true. You can't really model things like that, unfortunately. It's hard to model individual players, especially on defense in college football. And I know I was able to do it in college basketball last year. I did it on stream as an example last year at some point. And I showed how many points, because I had a Monte Carlo simulation that used individual players for college basketball last year. And so I would run the Monte Carlo simulation with the player, and then I'd remove him and run it without the player. And you would see how the final score in the Monte Carlo run would be affected by removing that player. And I tried like 20 different players, like Jalen Suggs and Oscar Sheboy for West Virginia. I tried it with like 20 different high-name players, and it would usually never change the final score by more than 2 or 3 points. The best players. Like most of the time, it didn't really change it at all, like maybe half a point. So you have to imagine in a sport like college football where there's 11 guys on the field, it might, it's just hard to model something like that when it's such a team sport where things like that just aren't tracked, and you can't really do a Monte Carlo projection for football anyway. So it's hard. Player-based models in football are hard. Not impossible, but it would take a lot of effort. The pit line dropped. Is Kenny Pickett sitting out? I don't know. Let's check. He might. I know he's an NFL. I don't think he's a first-round prospect, so I'd be very surprised if he does sit out. He's definitely not a higher prospect than Andy Dalton was my senior year, and he played in the Rose Bowl. But that was before players opted out. I'm not seeing anything on him. But, just because maybe the line's dropping because people in the inside know and it hasn't been officially reported yet. But it's a good thing you mentioned that, Bobby Robeson. Karlaftis. Got it. Karlaftis. All right. Let's go to the New Year's Eve games. We got 5, including the 2 playoffs. But starting in the morning with the game that, like I said, I was looking forward to the most. It's not a playoff game, and that is the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. And the Tax Slayer's been a sponsor for Gator Bowl for a while. I still remember when it was the Toyota Gator Bowl, and I remember when it was the Konica Minolta Gator Bowl, but I think it's been Tax Slayer for maybe 10 years now. But anyway, Texas A&M number 11 in my model, Wake Forest number 38. A&M is favored by 7. The total is 59.5. I have A&M winning by 8.6, so a little bit of value in A&M, and total 64.7. That's about 5 points over the posted total. So if Wake Forest is going to win this game, it's got to be because of the give a crap factor is higher on their side, because A&M they have the better roster, the better team, but we'll see. And then later that day, we have in El Paso, the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. Okay, that's a different sponsor. I remember when it was the Hyundai Sun Bowl for a while. But Washington State, number 35 in the model. Miami of Florida, number 46. The Hurricanes are favored by 2.5. The total is 60. Coaching change is a factor for Miami, Florida. I have Miami winning by 0.1, so I think there is value on Washington State plus 2.5. And a total is 60, so that's right in line with the posted total. So it looks like Washington State on the spread might be a value play. And then we have the Barstool Sports Arizona Bowl between Central Michigan and Boise State. This is one of those give a crap factors because Boise State's usually used to playing in bigger bowl games than this. They had a disappointing season. How excited will they be to be here? But Central Michigan just not a good team. Despite Boise State's bad season, I still have them at number 24 against the number 85 Central Michigan team. So Boise State's favored by 8. The total is 55. I have Boise State winning by 14.5, so I think Boise State is a value play here. And the total is 61.2, so that's about 6 points over. So the thing is, usually those upsets that happen in bowl games where the give a crap factor plays a role is usually games like this where the spread is really high. It's usually not like a 3-point favorite, but it's usually like a 14-point favorite that loses outright. So I would keep an eye on that. All right, and finally, the playoff games. Probably what a lot of people have been waiting for. Let's start with the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic between Cincinnati and Michigan. So Cincinnati is number 7 in my model, so I did not have them as the top 4 team in the model. The top 4 teams in my model were Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, and Michigan. So you could kind of say the Ohio State-Michigan game was a play-in of the playoff of some sort. But Alabama's a 13.5-point favorite. The total is 58. I have Alabama winning by 13.1, so that's right in line with the spread. And a total of 70, so that's about 12 points over the posted total of 58. So that's Cincinnati has their work cut out for them. I said when I saw this matchup, a lot of people are saying, oh, Alabama's going to win easily. You can't think the give a crap factor. And the give a crap factor doesn't really factor into a game like this because it's a playoff game. There's a lot on the line. So Alabama's definitely going to care, but Cincinnati's going to be ultra motivated. I would be very surprised if they got blown out. I would. Do they have flaws? Yes. They played some close games against bad teams this year, like Tulane and Tulsa. But so did Alabama. And Alabama didn't play close games against bad teams. LSU, not a bad team. They lost to A&M, not a bad team, but they weren't the dominant team that they've been in the past. So I think the spread of 13 is about right. I would just be very surprised if Cincinnati gets blown out. That's what I have to say. All right, and then the other playoff game on the 31st, the Capital One Orange Bowl between Georgia and Michigan. The number 1 team in my model, Georgia, versus the number 4 team, Michigan. And Georgia is favored by 7.5. The total is 43.5. I have Georgia winning by 16. So Georgia 7.5 might be a good play. Total of 55.1. That's 12 points over the posted total. So my model says Georgia by a lot. And the thing is, they looked human against Alabama. But Michigan, are they really that good? You just have to wonder if Michigan is explosive enough to do what Alabama did to Georgia. I don't know. That's a tough one. But at least according to the model, Georgia is an overwhelming play there. All right. Mika Himari wants to know, are you writing a book right now? I am not. I know I had started writing a book, The Truth About Sports Betting, back in March when I had a lot of free time, but I haven't really touched it in the past 6 months or so. Maybe one day I'll continue it. Maybe. I don't know. One of those things, guys. All right. Let me answer another email question. Did I watch Breaking Bad? And do you think Walt really died at the end? I did watch Breaking Bad. I've watched it all the way through twice. I've also watched Better Call Saul. Do I think Walt really died at the end? Yes, I do. I don't think there was really a curveball or anything. Although I do like the fan theory that it was all a dream of Hal from Malcolm in the Middle. I've always liked that one. But no, I think the way it ended is how it ended. Do you think sports like cycling in the Olympics should offer an unlimited weight class for doping? Man, that's a great question. Should there be an unlimited, kind of like, should baseball create like a separate league for guys who want to use steroids? That is a great question. It might, he suffixed that by saying it might allow for new medicines and treatments like improving heart health, and it would keep cheaters out of the natural class. The thing is, I think no matter what, you're still going to have cheaters in the natural class, even if there was a class you're allowed to unlimited doping in. They would just try to get away with it as much as they could. So ultimately, no, I don't think it would happen because I just think there would be too many. I think ultimately lawsuits would be the thing you'd have to worry before there. Man, these spammers are annoying. JYS0254 says, since the Bama line is very sharp, I would personally be surprised if either team wins by double digits. I completely agree with you there, JYS0254. I just don't see Cincinnati being blown out. I don't. A lot of people think it's going to happen just because, it's Cincinnati against Alabama, but I just don't see it happening. All right, let's move on to the New Year's Day games. We got 5 games, starting with the Outback Bowl. Penn State and Arkansas. Penn State just totally floundered to end the year because their offense was just so bad against the Arkansas team that definitely overachieved. Number 16 versus 23. Arkansas is a 2-point dog. Total's 46.5. I have Arkansas winning outright, so the wrong team is favored. I have Arkansas winning by 3 and a total of 37.3. That's about 9 points under the posted total. So under in that game. And then moving up the I-4 corridor to Orlando for the Verbo Citrus Bowl, we got Iowa and Kentucky. Kentucky number 38 in the model, Iowa 34. Kentucky favored by 2.5. The total is 44. I have Kentucky winning by 4, so a little bit of value on UK spread, and the total is 46.1. That's about 2 points over the posted total, so not a lot of value there, but if you had to, it'd be Kentucky and the over. All right, and then we got 3 New Year's 6 bowls to come after that. We have the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl at 1 o'clock Eastern on ESPN between Notre Dame and Oklahoma State. Number 12 is Notre Dame in my model against number 8, Oklahoma State in the model. Notre Dame's favored by 2.5. The total is 45.5. I have Notre Dame winning by 2.5, so the spread is very sharp, and the total is 46.5. That's only 1 point over the total, so not a lot of angles there. All right, moving on to the Rose Bowl game presented by Capital One Venture X. Okay, that's a new sponsor. Ohio State and Utah. This is definitely one of those games where Utah is going to be very happy to be there. Ohio State's number 3 in my model, and Utah is number 6. And not because of defense, because of offense for Utah. Ohio State's favored by 6.5. The total is 66.5. I have Ohio State winning by 8.5, so a tad bit of value on Ohio State spread, and the total is 17 points over. The posted total is 66.5. So at least a little bit of value on Ohio State. And then finally, on New Year's Eve night, we got All-State Sugar Bowl, Ole Miss and Baylor. Both teams are going to be excited to be here. Baylor number 18 in the model, Ole Miss number 10. Baylor's a 1.5 point favorite. The total is 54, but I have Ole Miss winning by 5, so there's a lot of value on Ole Miss spread. Total 65.1. That's 11 points over the posted total. So Baylor never shows up for these games. They always lose their big bowl games. I think Ole Miss will win this game. Yeah, so those are the New Year's games. And then finally, I'll just finish it off with the TaxAct Texas Bowl on January 4th, kind of random. LSU and Kansas State, that's the last game. LSU and Kansas State, this is a pick'em, and the total is 47. LSU is number 36 in the model, Kansas State number 25. I have Kansas State. Wow, I have this as an even margin. 40, yeah, even 23.3 to 23.3, so right in line with the spread, and the total is 47. Wow, my model has it exactly as the lines are in both spread and total, so wow. Nothing there. All right, that is it for the bowl picks. All right, Bobby Robeson wants to know, lightweights, high reps, or heavyweights, low volume? Well, it depends on what you're trying to accomplish there, Bobby. If you're trying to gain strength, then you want to do heavyweight, low volume, and long rest periods. If you're trying to gain size, like if you're trying to make your muscles bigger, not necessarily stronger, but bigger, it's lightweight, high reps, and short rest times. And probably over the past 3 years, I've done the lightweight, high rep, low rest time method. Because there was a time, I could show you a picture of me like 4 years ago. I could bench press 300 pounds. I could rep, 250 pounds for 10 reps, But I looked like a cancer patient. I was a twig. I was strong, but I had no actual muscle size. So I flipped that around. And I've gotten bigger, but I just don't have the strength anymore. Bono 100 wants to know, where is the food? Stay tuned for my video tomorrow on arbitrage betting. I filmed it on Monday. It will be coming out tomorrow. You'll see food in that video. I should probably stream. I don't eat on these streams because I only eat like that once a week. So I save it for the Thursday Truth videos. And when I say eat like that once a week, I mean like get something where I can, like I'll go to a restaurant once a week, but I'm not going to film there. So once a week I go to a restaurant and eat a lot, and then once a week I'll buy something and eat a lot, or cook. I'll buy something or cook, but depends. All right, and those are all the bowl games. What time is it? 8:39, so it's been about an hour and 10 minutes so far. I want to get to 200 playbacks before I call it a day. 16 concurrent viewers. So this stream has actually gained momentum since I started. We haven't got to the 40 concurrent viewers like I had last week, but ideally, Bobby Robeson, what you'd want to do is high reps and high weight, but that's just you got to pick your poison. As many reps as you can to the highest weight you can, But the definition of as many reps as you can, I would say it's less about the number of reps and more about the rest time and time under tension. Because that's really what makes your muscles grow is the amount of tension you put them under. So short rest times, high reps, means they're going to be under tension a lot. And so I went to the gym today, so I was stupid. I did something today that I'm never going to do again because I was sick on Monday, so I couldn't run. So I'm training for a marathon right now, and I made up for that running today. I ran 7 miles, and then I went and did a leg day afterward. Yeah, that wasn't smart. Not smart at all. I can do leg days on days I run, but I'll need to either run after or I'll need to not run 7 miles. That's too long. And it was a 7-mile pace run too, meaning I had a certain pace and not just, that I was trying to beat. Yep. Food management, weight loss is all about food and diet. It has really nothing to do with, exercise is like 5% of the equation. Since I've been training for a marathon and I'm running however many miles, I think last week I ran 30 miles total last week. And I also did 25 miles of biking and 4 days in the gym lifting weights. So that's a lot of exercise. And yeah, I'm definitely burning a lot more calories than I would if I was only going to the gym and not doing any marathon training or anything like that. No doubt about it. But yeah, diet is everything when it comes to weight loss and, staying lean. And people see me on these videos shoving, $45 worth of Popeyes down my throat, or what you'll see me tomorrow eating 2 18-inch pizzas. But everyone's like, how do you eat so much to stay lean? Well, it's because I'm very active and I only eat like that like twice a week. I do something called the 5-2 diet, and 5 days a week I'll put it this way. 2 days a week I don't eat anything at all. I fast completely 2 days a week. It's usually Sundays and Tuesdays. And then 3 days a week I eat whatever I want, with the catch being 2 of those days I only eat once a day. And then 1 of those days is a cheat day. I'll eat whatever I want when I want. And then the other 2 days I eat like a salad or something, like a giant salad, like usually about 2,000 calories or so. So a lot of volume, but so it's kind of weird. But that's how I'm able to stay lean and stay shredded and everything despite doing what I do. Only game on the board this week is Army Navy. I'm thinking viewership is down due to that. I think it's more of the title of my video last week was Sports Betting Expert Answers Your Questions. Probably more of a clickbaiting title, more than Machine Learning College Football Bull Picks. Yeah, I don't look at the number on the scale. Look at yourself in the mirror. If you like how you look in the mirror better, because the number on the scale there's a lot that goes into it. You might be heavier, but it might be more muscle than fat, so. Or you might be lighter, but you might have lost a lot of muscle and not so much fat. So you might be lighter, but not look good. So, but me, I like to stay shredded year round. So I just do what I do. And I feel like doing the diet I do kind of helps me be able to satisfy those food cravings, and because I feel like when I was totally restrictive, I would never let myself eat what I wanted. Not only would I really not make that much progress, but I felt like I was depriving myself. It's just a lot easier to do what I do and fast twice a week. Tomorrow night after I work out, I'm going to go to Chili's and probably pound a 2 for $25 by myself and then some, Yeah, Nico avocado is disgusting. It's one thing to have like a video of someone eating a lot of food and them being in shape like me or Matt Stoney or something, and it's another thing to have a total fat ass like that guy. That's not appealing at all. Remember the first one I did? I think a lot of you watched it when I did try to eat 10,000 calories worth of Jack in the Box to celebrate my 10,000 subscribers, and I couldn't make it. And it wasn't because I was full, because remember, I quit probably about 3/4 of the way in at like 7,000 calories, and I was like, I'm not full, I'm just tired of eating salty stuff. Like, I can only eat so much sodium. And then I went to Albertsons down the street and grabbed some ice cream sandwiches and came back and like ate them all. It's not because I was full. I was just tired of eating. I wanted to switch. It's called flavor fatigue. You want to switch over to something sweet after eating so much, savory, salty food. Matt Stansberry wants to know, Will, what do you plan on doing with models in your channel after college football season? Do you typically evaluate the model during the offseason for weaknesses or ways it could improve? That's a great question, Matt Stansberry. Honestly, to be completely honest, I've thought about temporarily retiring from, models and everything like that. It's not just because I'm busy with work and life in general, but it's another one. It's also a mental health thing. I don't talk about my personal life a lot, but I go through a lot of stress like everybody else and dealing with some mental health challenges, everything. I'm not trying to, what's the right word? I'm not trying to, there's a word for this. Never depreciate. I'm not trying to depreciate myself and air all my dirty laundry out, but I'm human. I go through, personal life things, the stresses of personal life, women, dating can be very stressful and all that type of stuff. So those types of things kind of like give you kind of a block on these things, because when I was living in Las Vegas, I didn't partake in any of that stuff because I knew I wasn't going to be living there long term. And so there's no point in getting involved and trying to, date women and everything like that. Dealing with family, all my family's here. I have friends, so I've always told her, don't force yourself to do something. Don't do something you're not having fun doing. And it got to the point this season with my college football model that I wasn't enjoying it anymore. And same with my baseball model. Honestly, I shut down the baseball model because I moved and I was too focused on trying to find a job and all that. Didn't have my computer for a month to be able to run. So that's the real reason I shut down the baseball model. But with the football model, I just stopped enjoying it. And I wasn't having fun anymore. And I felt like I was forcing myself to do it. I was forcing myself to run the model every week and forcing myself to do the videos of the picks and forcing myself to do the Saturday streams. And I was just not enjoying it. And there's other things in my life that I was prioritizing, or there are things that were stressing me out that was causing me to not give my best effort forward. But I don't want to depreciate myself. And if you're one of the girls I'm talking to right now and I'm dating or trying to date and you're watching the stream, I doubt it. But if you are, I hope you're not scared off by me saying that, I'm stressed and everything like that and don't have my crap together. I do. It's just that I just wasn't enjoying it anymore. Exactly, real BBB. I'm not hungover. I'm just tired because I've been up all night drinking. I just felt like I was starting to, I was starting to force things. And you want to be happy when you're doing something. You don't want to do stuff when you're not happy. And it's just one of those things. So, it's a... I don't want to air all my dirty laundry, but no. It's very, dating as a 33-year-old guy like me is very stressful. It is because there's multiple ways to meet women these days. You can meet them. You can go to a bar and try to pick them up at a bar. You can try to just like do things like go to a yoga class or a spin class or a salsa dancing class and try to do it that way. You can try to meet them at church. You can use the online dating apps like Hinge and Bumble. Those are the two I've used. But the thing is that women have all the leverage because they have, you go and talk to a pretty girl, you match with a pretty girl in Hinge or Bumble, you find a pretty girl at a bar or a salsa dancing class and get her number. You're not the only guy she's going to be talking to. She's probably going to be talking to a lot of other guys. So it's like, where do you stand? And a girl can be really into you one day and be blowing up your phone and really into you and wanting to meet up and go out. And then the next day she goes ice cold and stops responding to your text and all that stuff. And every time I just assume it's another guy that entered the equation. It's another guy that came into the picture. And there's nothing you can do about it, And it's like, that's why I always try to, my strategy is to move quickly because you don't want to invest like weeks into talking to a girl and getting to know her, and then it doesn't work out, Then you finally ask her out and there's another guy or she's not interested. You just wasted 3 or 4 weeks of your life, connecting with a girl, getting to know her, maybe even making an emotional connection, and then, it turns out she's not interested or being flaky. That's why I try to go out on a date with a girl in the first 5 days of getting her number, getting to know her, period, right? That's how I operate. That's what I try to do. And it's not always that easy, though. It's not always that easy. And so some girls are like, well, I want to get to know you a little bit better before I go out with you. And some girls will go out with you right off the bat, but then they're like, oh, this is moving too fast. It's just like I said, girls have all the leverage, and it's really like the biggest power a man can have is the ability to walk away. But sometimes walking away won't make a difference if she's not into you. If she's not into you, walking away is not going to matter because you're already invisible to her. You're already invisible to her. So if she's interested in you, and you walk away or give her distance, or I'm not saying ignore her on purpose, because I feel like ignoring a girl on purpose just to make her miss you, so to speak, is another way of being needy. But there is a way you can just give her space, and make her I didn't want this chat to turn into the dating advice channel. But I'm just airing my dirty laundry out, I guess. But it's just a matter of like, I feel like you get to a point where you're too old to play games. So if you're ignoring a girl to play games, and like, I'm going to ignore her for 2 weeks, then she'll miss me and be begging for me to come back into her life. No, don't play psychological games like that. But there is a time where you might need to walk away because you might have come on too strong. You might have moved too fast. You might, she might need some space. She might be busy with her life. She might be going through some things, And that's a time where, but still, if a girl is into you, that's the leverage you have, is walking away. But you got to be careful with it. But if she's not into you at all, then walking away is not going to matter. Seymour Doolittle says, "Hi, William. Just wanted to say hi and thank you for your channel. I'm messing around with some models for Python better, and you have a ton of helpful videos. I appreciate it, Seymour. It's viewers like you that keep me going. Viewers like you that keep me going." It is. Matt Stansbury, I completely agree. I have a much easier picking up a date in person than online. That is very true. Very true. Like online dating, I get a lot of matches, I don't think I'm an ugly guy. I might not be like a model or anything, but I don't think I'm an ugly guy. I get matches, but out of the matches I get on Bumble and Hinge, I don't use Tinder. I feel like I'm too old for Tinder. But I'll get matches on Bumble and Hinge, and out of the girls I match with, maybe half of them will even bother like messaging me. You'll match with them and on Bumble, they won't even message you, or on Hinge, you'll send them a message and they'll ignore you. And I would say out of the girls that message me, about half of those will ghost me before I get their number. So out of the matches I get, maybe a quarter of them will give me their number. And then out of the girls who give me their number, like I said, I try to move fast because I believe the more you text and the less you escalate and meet up with her in person, the more likely you're going to be friend zoned, right? So if you spend like 2 or 3 weeks just texting a girl, and you're going to get friend zoned. You are. I've always say that the goal is to get off the app and meet up in person. But then out of the 25% who give me their number, only about half of those at the most, probably closer to 1/3, will actually meet up with me. So everyone thinks, I got her number, I'm good. That's not the case, because like I said, she has other guys she's talking to, and she's going to give her attention to the guy she's into the most, and she might keep you around as a backup plan. And if the guy she likes the most is asking her out and making plans with her and everything, she's not going to give you the time of day. And she'll only come back to you as like a backup plan. So I have plenty of numbers in my phone of girls that have given me their number off dating apps and have gone nowhere. So it is what it is. And then you'll go out with girls, and a lot of them will catfish you. Like I went out with a girl a few weeks ago. She was probably about 50 pounds heavier than she was in her pictures, and I did as much research. I'll admit, I'll creep. I will creep around just to make sure the girl is who she says she is on her profiles or whatever. But all of her social medias are private, and I couldn't find any pictures of her. So I was like, you know what? I'll just give her the benefit of the doubt. I meet up with her, and she was a very nice girl, but I don't want to reward someone for lying. Because a lot of these girls will be like, it doesn't matter. He'll just like me for who I am on the inside. That's not true. If you have a bunch of 5-year-old pictures on your profile where you're thin, and then you show up and you are not thin, that is lying. That is catfishing. And that's happened to me a few times. And I'm not going to reward that behavior. I'm sorry. I don't care how nice of you are on the inside. I don't care how good of conversations we had leading up. I'm sorry. And then you have girls who are like, I really hope that these girls aren't watching this stream. Maybe they are. But there's one girl I matched with. She on Hinge, and she wasn't moving here for another like month or so. But she was really nice, and I feel like we had a lot in common. We had a very similar background. She's very pretty, and so I'm like, okay, what do I do? Because like I said, I like to move fast. I was like, I don't want to invest a month of banter with this girl and form an emotional connection for someone who's not even going to be here for another month. And then when she does move here, she's going to be all wrapped up in moving and starting her new job and packing and all that's a lot. I'll get lost in the shuffle, right? And I was like, what do I do? And so I was like, you know what? I said, hey, I've really enjoyed talking to you, and I just believe it would be best if you just, if you just gave me your number, and when you got here and settled down and everything, then we could, reconnect. And so that's what I did. And so she gave me her number, and I'm like, great, I'll just reconnect with her when she gets here, and hopefully she remembers me. But I was kind of unsure. Because I kind of asked some of my female friends that I have if that was a good thing to do, and they're split. Some are like, yeah, that was a good thing to do, and the others are like, no, she's going to think you're blowing her off and are not interested. So I was like, oh, what do I do? So I was like, you know what, I'll just try to check in with her every few days. And so that's what I did. I'd probably send a check-in text every now and then. I just felt like that might have communicated weakness on my end, because it's like, okay, I told her I was going to do something and I ended up not doing it. And, that doesn't come off as confident. It doesn't come off as sure. And, I feel like that probably wasn't the smart thing to do. I probably should have just stuck to my word. And so that's just, it's not as cut and dry as people think, but anyway. Exactly. Matt Stansberry is correct. You don't want to message online for too long, because then you don't want to give away your whole life story before she meets you, because then she has no reason to meet you. The most attractive quality you can have as a man is your mystery. Women want to find out about you. That's part of the emotional romantic journey for a woman, is finding out about you. If you give everything away and you give away your whole life story and you talk too much, that's not attractive, and she's going to be like, she wants to find that out herself. She wants to get that out of you. That's part of the challenge for a woman. That's part of the chase, is learning about you. But if you're being too upfront and giving yourself away, she's not going to want to meet up with you. Yeah, trust me, I've been doing this stuff for years, guys. I've been doing this stuff for years. It's kind of therapeutic to talk about this stuff. Oh, yeah. I mean, Micah Hamari, I live in Dallas-Fort Worth. It's the 5th largest metropolitan area in the United States. And it's hard. The bigger the city, Micah Hamari, the more options a woman's going to have. And the more competition you're going to have as a man. Like, I did very well in Louisville, Kentucky. I did very well in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, because me, a college-educated man, in a place like Louisville or Cedar Rapids was a commodity. Here in Dallas-Fort Worth, it's the norm. It's the rule, not the exception. And so I was able to attract a higher quality woman and have an easier time doing it in a place like Louisville and Cedar Rapids than I am in a place here like Dallas, when you have a lot more competition. And it's really eye-opening. It is. Yes, you have more options, but so do they. And I didn't really try in Las Vegas because I knew I wasn't going to be there long term. But the hard part about doing that in Las Vegas is there's so many tourists. There's so many tourists on the dating apps, and there's a lot of prostitutes and a lot of girls who work professions like being a stripper and everything like that. That's what makes online dating very hard in a place like Las Vegas. Where do you stand on potential partners that have pets, dogs and cats, fishes, or what? I'm a cat person. I am. I'm sorry. And a lot of women might find that unattractive, but that's just the truth. I'm a cat person. Seymour Doolittle. Hey, William, this may be out of your depth, but I'm switching out of computer engineering for a more data-focused career. Do I need to get a data science major, or does analytics major work? Honestly, I would do computer science and statistics. Seymour Doolittle. You can do a data science major. I wouldn't do an analytics major. I'd do a data science major. They're two different things. But yeah, do a data science major, but I would try to have statistics in there at somewhere. Yeah, it's a learning process. It's live and learn. I've always said that about dating women is it's a live and learn process. Everything is a learning experience. Yeah, a lot of it might suck. There are times you're going to get your heart broken. There's times you're going to really like a girl and it's not going to work out and it sucks. But I've always been able to reinvest that into improving myself, making myself better, make myself more appealing. I had a really bad one when I lived in Louisville. And I really channeled that into making myself a better man. Really working on things like my wardrobe, my style, my hair. I had a really bad one in Cedar Rapids that's what really motivated me to lose weight and get into shape and start going to the gym again. So, it's it's kind of therapeutic to talk about these things because honestly, that's a major source of a lot of the stress that I go through. And you spend so much emotional energy on things like that you just don't have the patience to deal with something like this, because it takes a lot of mental brain power and you can't have any distractions. You got to be focused to be able to build good models and stuff like that for this stuff. And if you have too many distractions in your life that are weighing you down and, stressing you out, you don't want to double down that stress. So I could create a whole channel based on what I've learned over the years dating women. Reason why I'm asking is I have my computer science minor and stats minor locked up by switching and don't like the theory part of computer science and the flexibility of business is appealing. I can see that. I didn't major in computer science, but I've always seen people say if you want to get into data science as a career, then computer science and statistics need to be your two focuses. Analytics is different because analytics covers a broad case these days. I'm an analytics consultant. That's what I do for a living. And I would say analytics is more along the marketing side of things, especially with digital marketing. That's what analytics is about these days. So that's probably what it means. So I wouldn't major in that. Matt Stansberry says, my biggest tip for being single, don't date or look for dates if you aren't dateable. You're absolutely right, Matt Stansberry. You have to ask yourself, why would a woman want to date me? You need to ask yourself that. Why me? Like I said, women have an unlimited supply of options, and women are the selectors. They are the choosers. So why is she going to choose me over all the other guys blowing up her phone, all the other guys Snapchatting her, matching her on dating apps? Why me? But you can't use that to be insecure. You can't do that to beat up your self-esteem. Just channel it to become the best man you can be. All right, it's been about an hour and a half. What do I do? What do I do? All right, I think I'm going to call it a night, guys. It's 9 o'clock, so it looks like the stream picked up towards the end, but I like to go for about 90 minutes on these things, more or less, but if there's more to talk about, we can go longer in the future. But I appreciate everyone for tuning in. I feel like this is another success. I'll try to be back next Wednesday. Yep, Robert McPherson, you're right. If you care too much, she will notice that, and it's unattractive. And that's what I'm going to close with. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I really appreciate it. 250 playbacks. It's pretty good, not bad. All right, everybody, I will be back. I'll upload a video tomorrow on arbitrage betting, and I'll try to be back next Wednesday for another one of these, all right?